Today I'm going to talk about race strategies and race preparation, pre-race routine, I guess, what I've done over the years, and just some tactical things in the surf. Okay, as far as competition day, nutrition is always an important factor. I mean, if you're racing throughout the day, nutrition, it should never be underestimated. You always got to have the right fuel in your body. Something that's easily digestible, I usually just have fruit, plenty of water. Dehydration is a big factor, especially at hot climate surf carnivals, and plenty of sun protection. The sun sort of zaps a lot of energy out of you, and you should always make sure you can keep under the shade as much as possible. Regarding your equipment on competition day, it's always important, I think, to have spares, so have spare bungs. I always have a spare paddle in case you snap a paddle in a race, and making sure that you're keeping your craft sort of out of the sun as much as possible. I guess making sure your wax isn't going to be melting and then get sand in it. You've got a pretty rough surface to paddle on then. So one thing I always try to do is get down to the beach that I'm competing at well prior to the competition. Just get out in the conditions. Looking at the conditions visually is often very different to actually being out there and seeing what they are like. Every beach is different, and before you're going to go and race in the conditions, you want to test them out so you know what the bottom of the ocean's doing, if there's good run-outs or if there's banks, and just get out there. Yeah, familiarising yourself with the conditions is always going to make racing a lot easier, as opposed to if you just rock up down the beach one day and you haven't been in it before. So the most important factor of any racing in the surf is knowing the conditions that you're going to be competing in and knowing your arena. So the first thing I always do when I get to the beach is find the highest point possible up on the sand and look down at the arena. Look for where there are alleys, and there is always an alley. And coming back in, knowing where the best waves are breaking, knowing your landmarks on the beach in relation to your finish line. Once you have a fair idea of what the conditions are in the morning, you've always got to keep an eye on it, checking every hour. The conditions change all the time. Tide might be coming out or going in, and that will alter the conditions. So it's important to always keep an eye on that, and especially right before your race is about to start. If I'm in a swim situation, I'll always check the bottom, because there are certain alleys that will give you a better run out, and in a big surf, the quickest way out is along the bottom of the ocean. It's where all the water's rushing back out, and if you can find an alley like that, get in it. It's going to make your racing a whole lot easier. Finishing is another crucial part of the board race. Often if it comes down to 5 people on the same wave, it's always going to be the first person who's up and running. But again, you've got to make that judgment, and I think it's a matter of knowing the bottom before you start the race and knowing where it is best to get off.